So there's only 1 week then until the start of the new Premier League season. Very, very exciting. And of course it means it's that time of year again to start thinking about your fantasy football teams. Now we ran a competition last year to see if any of you could beat any of the Mongolian Horses FC players. None of you were successful. One of you did still walk away with a prize because we were feeling very generous, but technically nobody actually won the challenge. So this year, we've grown in size, the league's growing in size, and so the prize is going to grow in size as well. Most importantly, what do you have to do to win that prize? You've got to beat one of the Mongolian Horses FC players in our Mongolian Horses FC Challenge League on fantasypremierleague.com. Now, most of the players will be involved in there, so you'll see some names that you recognise. All you've got to do, submit yourself into that league. There'll be a code available at the bottom of the screen in the link at the end and in the bio as well. So it will be posted everywhere. All you've got to do is join that league and see if you can keep up or beat any of our players in that league. If you do beat us, if you win that league, the winner of that league will walk away with a prize. So let's have a look at the prizes. Any one of these three can be yours. Your choice, completely your choice, but you've got to win. You've got to beat me, you've got to beat the other Mongols, and we'll fully customise one of these for you at the end of the season. So, been getting a lot of messages on Instagram as well of people asking me for advice really on who to pick for their fantasy Premier League teams over loads of different formats, whether it's the Sky Sports one, the Sun, etc. And well, I had a very strong year last year, but normally I don't do too well in fantasy Premier League, so I'm not exactly sure that I'm the right person to be asking for advice, but you have asked for it, so I will give you some. So let's start with the goalkeepers. You get to pick 2 goalkeepers, and you're obviously going to pick a goalkeeper who's playing a weak team every single week. But the problem is if you pick someone like Courtois, De Gea, someone like that who's going to be playing for one of the top clubs who keep a lot of clean sheets, if they go on a run where they win games 4-1, 3-1, something like that, there's a good chance that they're not going to have anything to do in that match, not going to make lots of saves, and there's a good chance they'll lose their clean sheet. So I tend to pick people that are kind of in the middle of the league. So this season it would be like the Joe Harts at West Ham. Tom Heaton obviously did very well with Burnley last season. Jordan Pickford at Everton now as well, in my eyes, is a good shout. People that have got a good chance of keeping clean sheets, but if they don't keep clean sheets, they're going to be making a lot of important saves as well. So, like I say, you've got a choice. You go for a big choice keeper who's maybe 5.5 million, 6 million, something like that, and then you put a nobody on the bench. Or what I tend to do is pick a couple of 5 millions, somebody like that that you know is going to make a lot of saves, and then you've got a choice, so you can rotate them from week to week. And when it comes to defenders as well, you have a similar problem to face really. Again, you can go for the big scorer. So last season, Marcus Alonso, he was the real big scorer, but he's 7 million this year, which for a defender is very pricey. But then again, he can pay you back if he's going to get regular assists, goals, and of course the option of a clean sheet there as well. But I tend to go for, well, you say you want to go for fullbacks because they're going to be up and down the line, and the way that the Premier League's turning now, especially using these 3 or 5 at the back system where they're playing wing backs, they're going to be getting up and down that line, potentially getting assists and getting goals as well. So I normally stay away from the big centre backs. But then this season as well, like I say, with the fullbacks, you've got teams like Manchester City, where they've got Danilo, they've got Kyle Walker, they've got Mendy, and it's a tough choice really to see who's going to play in the majority of games out of those 3. I think Mendy is going to be injured for the start of the season as well, so probably quite safe at the start of the season, but going on, there is a lot of competition for places there. And then obviously you've got, at Tottenham, they've been doing very well, Kieran Trippier, Danny Rose. Great players getting up and down the line. And other than that, you've also got players like Leighton Baines, penalty taker for Everton. So if he's playing, takes free kicks as well. Good chance of going for goals there, which is what I tend to pick my defenders on. And then midfielders as well. You've got an absolute plethora of midfielders to choose from this season. I mean, the quality in this midfield is just ridiculous. I mean, look at your Dele Allis, your Christian Eriksen, Heung-min Son. That's just 3 Tottenham players alone. You look at Man City, it's ridiculous what they've got. Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané, David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, it's just filthy that they've got those 5 players. Yaya Toure, who Fernandinho, even he scores goals. So ridiculous amount of players to choose from there. And you just don't know who's going to be playing every single week. Mesut Ozil as well, obviously, big assister. And not actually too expensive in comparison with some of those other players I've mentioned. So he could be a good pick. And obviously, he's not going to score many goals, but he does assist an awful lot for Arsenal. And then you've got your people that are maybe considered less likely to score regular points, but are good people, good kind of like squad players. You've got like John Joe Shelby coming up with Newcastle. A player that I actually rate quite highly, and so cheap this year as well. So he could be a good player to have in there. And as well, players like Liverpool, Emre Can showed last season that he can score goals. Only about 5 million this season, cheap as chips, and could be a very good shout. And then strikers this season, that is probably where I've had the toughest decisions to make, to be honest, because there's just so many quality strikers in the Premier League nowadays, and because of that quality, they are expensive as well. So you have a choice of whether you go really full on with your strikers, and then you have to kind of give away a bit of quality in the rest of your squad, or you try and pick snidely, maybe one big striker, a couple of people that you think are going to get into double figures for the season, and then you can fill out the rest of your squad with a bit more quality in the midfield and the defence. But I mean, Sergio Aguero is obviously always a solid player to pick, but 11.5 or 12.5 million is very expensive. Harry Kane is going for about the same, 2 golden boots in a row. I mean, he's going to score goals. So, I mean, you've really got to have him in there, but 12 million is a massive chunk of your transfer budget taken already. Obviously, new signings like Gabriel Jesus, who we saw for, well, a season last year, in and out with injuries and stuff. The games he did play, he looked absolutely ridiculous. And then new signings this season, where you've got Lukaku, Alvaro Morata, players that again you'd expect to score a lot of goals. Lacazette as well for Arsenal looked good pre-season, so you get him in there, but these are players that you're going to be spending a lot of money on. And then when you look at the lower cost strikers as well, you've got a couple of choices to make. So if you do go for a big striker and put them alongside a cheaper striker, someone that's going to be playing a lot of games, I mean, it's difficult to look past Chicharito, to be honest. Javier Hernandez. I still can't believe, being a West Ham fan myself, still can't believe he managed to get him for 16 million when you see the prices that other people are going for. He is looking like a real snip, and he's going to cost you £7-8 million as well. So significantly cheaper than some of the big boys. But you still expect him to get goals just the way he is. Just a natural finisher. I'd be surprised if he got any less than about 13-14 goals for West Ham this season. Dwight Gale as well. Proved he can score goals in the Premier League with Crystal Palace a few seasons ago. Absolutely smashed it in the Championship last year for Newcastle. And 4.55 million for him is just so cheap. And you have to think he's going to be one of the main sources of Newcastle's goals. So they're the two cheaper options that I would really make sure that you get in and around your squad. The problem that you do have going into a new season is that, like I said, you don't know who's going to play. And this season there's a lot of players going to it with a bit of uncertainty about their future at clubs as well. So players like Philippe Coutinho, now that the Neymar deal has gone through, I still can't get over that, to be honest, 200 million. Yeah, but anyway, he's gone. So does that mean that it's more likely that Philippe Coutinho is going to go to Barcelona now they've got the money in the bank? So will he be paying for Liverpool? He was a player last year who got a lot of points for a lot of people. Diego Costa as well, obviously with Morata arriving and Conte saying he's not in his plans, you'd expect him to go, but as of now he is still at the club. Alexis Sanchez as well, another player. I mean, if you pick him and he goes to Man City, then you don't really have much of an issue there, because he will still be within the Premier League. Will he start or slot straight into the team? Will he be starting the season in the Arsenal team? He's had a lot of the summer off, and with this uncertainty about his future, will Arsenal pick him? And so, yeah, you've got a lot of issues when it comes to those final transfers. And so that is the issue. A lot of managers have a lot of issue with the fact that the Premier League season starts while the transfer window is still open, and these are the kind of problems they faces, because they just don't realise how it affects not only the managers, but the fantasy football managers as well. People like us, the little people, the turmoil it puts us through. It's not fair, really. So, yeah, those are my kind of thoughts on it. I would just like to say that James Milner, he's always the outside bet, penalty taker. Whether he'll be playing left back or not this season will be interesting, but I believe he is down as a defender this year, so that could be a little diamond in the rough if he's going to be playing games, especially if he comes back into the midfield for Liverpool. But anyway, there you go. There's my little, well, advice, I'd say. I'm not sure how solid that advice is. Whether you want to take it or ignore it is completely up to you. But considering I'm going to be competing against all of you anyway, maybe I've kept a few little secret hidden gems to myself. But anyway, like I say, it's going to come up now with the code to join the league. Make sure you're getting it before the deadline, before next Friday at about 7 o'clock, I think the deadline in, because obviously you've got the Arsenal-Leicester game on the Friday night. So make sure you get involved, and you could be in chance with winning. So that's it. Mongolian Horses FC Challenge. Can you beat us?